morning or afternoon, whenever you're listening. How are you all doing? Strange times continue. I'm in a room today doing one-to-one shamanic healings, and so I just thought I'd do a little vid between sessions just to highlight an introduction, I guess, into not necessarily what shamanic healing is. I mean, you can do a lot of research on that. You can talk to me directly, talk to my teachers in Glastonbury, Jane Kestrel Oakwood. There's a lot of different aspects of shamanic healing which are out there, okay, and you'll be drawn to what's right for you. But part of the work is understanding, or helping you to understand, the hidden aspects of yourself. Some people call it the shadow, which more often than not manifests in the subconscious or infra-conscious realms of your being, okay? And most of us aren't aware of our shadow. Most of us aren't aware of our subconscious mind. Our subconscious and infraconscious, which is kind of a level lower than the subconscious. That's where the real horror stories start to manifest. They dictate a lot. Over 90%, some people say, it's probably around the 80 to 90% mark of your choices and actions, and let's call them energy manipulations on a daily basis in your waking state, okay? Your physical waking state. So if you've got 80% of your life managed by an aspect of your being which you're not aware of, you're not observant of, and you haven't even looked at or healed, you might run into some problems. You might not. But more often than not, we create situations of suffering for ourselves, and then we don't know why we keep going around the same loop. Yeah? It's because we're operating from our shadow, from our subconscious. Okay? I'll give you an example. You go to work, or you're working in an office, you sat behind a computer, and the boss comes along and asks you to do something. Alright? So the conscious part of you looks at the boss and goes, yes, no problem, I can get that done for you by 5 o'clock this afternoon. But there's a part of you inside that isn't in alignment with that response, that's saying, how dare he ask me to do all this work by 5 o'clock? What an arsehole, what a complete twat, he shouldn't even be in that job, I should be in that job. Okay, so you've got two voices. The internal one, what you're really thinking and feeling, and what you have to portray to the boss or a position of authority or someone that you need something from, to make it look like you're playing the game, putting your mask on, right? That kind of misalignment is extremely inauthentic. We all do it, all right? The problem with that kind of misalignment is that inner voice is seeking your attention at some level. It's seeking your attention. It's asking you to take a look at why you feel that way inside, but portray yourself differently. It's almost like there's this schizophrenia within us that that has a myriad, let's call them, of little egos, all trying to feign and gain attention, right? And the ones that shout the loudest tend to get the most attention. Our consciousness, the truth of who we are, really, the truth of our being, is trapped in all these little egos, all these little voices, if you want to call them that. And it's asleep. It's asleep in these bottles of ego, okay? These samskaras, the Buddhists call them. And our job in this lifetime is to free our consciousness from these bottles. Yeah? 10 green bottles sitting on the wall. Yeah? It's to free our consciousness from these bottles, to liberate our consciousness from our own inauthenticity, from our own filters. Okay? I sometimes teach meditation, or I do teach meditation in the prison community. And again, there's a lot of different opinions about what meditation should be or is. Is it focusing on a mantra? Is it concentrating on your breath? Is it visualizing something? That's all good stuff, right? It helps with your concentration. It helps with stabilizing your emotions. It helps with finding a sense of peace and calm within you. But true meditation is achieving perceptual clarity. Okay? Perceptual clarity. Being able to see things as they are, not as your filters, your bottled up egos, right? Your consciousness bottled up in egos is corrupting it to be. So true meditation is about taking all those layers of sunglasses off that are really blocking your view, your clarity. And the more we become aware of our unconscious shadow nature, the more we realize how much of our clarity is being masked and filtered and corrupted by our ego, by a combination of these things. So the sum total of the ego, okay, is made up of these little egos. It could be, there's my bottle of anger, there's my bottle of pride, there's my bottle of shame, my bottle of guilt, my bottle of unworthiness, my bottle of self-pity, yeah, my bottle of lust. And depending how much consciousness is trapped in these bottles, that will kind of determine how you respond to life, right? How you respond to objective truth. Yeah? So we're all dreaming, okay? Now, once you start to do some of this work, once you start to do some of this shadow work, you start to awaken in the dream. And you start to understand how you're manifesting your dream. Are you manifesting your dream consciously, with awareness and with perfect clarity? Or are you manifesting this dream, okay, by completely being asleep and being essentially a victim of your karma, a victim of your unconsciousness? Deterministic. Are you just acting as a deterministic being, susceptible to the forces of these samskaras, these egoic bottles that the consciousness is trapped in? It's quite a scary prospect, because when you actually and you know, I'm still working, you know, we're all still working on this, right? But when you truly fathom the complexity of your psyche, when you truly fathom and contemplate the complexity of the life that you're engaging in. It can be quite a scary prospect to rattle it up a bit. Yeah? To start to extract. Yeah? To start to extract your consciousness out of these samskaras. It takes courage to do that. It takes courage to really, truly be honest with yourself and look at yourself. To look at where your false light is. A lot of New Agers are talking about, being light workers, right? Oh, I'm a light worker. I bring love and light to the planet. How much of that love and light is actually manifesting from a sense of pride? Yeah? Or self-righteous anger, or guilt, or aversion, avoidance. How much of that light and supposed love that you are saying that you're manifesting into the world is actually coming from an unconscious egoic aspect of your shadow? So it takes courage to look at when you're portraying your mask, when you're putting your mask on, whatever mask you want to put on, right? What's behind it? There could be an angel in front of it. There could be an angel mask you've got there going, oh, I'm a beautiful person. I'm a beautiful, kind, loving, compassionate being. But behind that mask might be some quite demonic, right? And unconscious, egoic fragments having a party. Not a lot of people probably want to hear that. But a true light worker is a warrior. Okay, a true light worker won't worry about what's going on around them. Won't worry about fixing other people to make him or her feel more comfortable in their environment. A true warrior, a true light worker will start with themselves, will start to really dig deep into their darkest, deepest recesses of their psyche, their shadow, and shine a light on it with courage and understand themselves more wholly and more fully. So, next time you say or do something, contemplate where that action is truly coming from. Is it coming from a preconditioned, I got to do this to fit in, but deep down, yeah, I'm feeling something completely different? Yeah? Is it coming from that? Or is it coming from, look how wonderful I am. Yeah? Look how brilliant and fantastic I am. And what I can do for you versus what's going on inside, right, isn't essentially a truly heartfelt, altruistic emotion. Yeah? There could be narcissistic elements to that. We're often very, very engaged in enjoying looking at this mask that we like to portray, right? So we get fixated by the reflection of the mask, yeah? And we forget what's behind that mask, which is where the real work is, yeah? We're forever painting new bits on the mask and making the mask and the filters look better, right? But more often than not, we're doing nothing to tear it off layer by layer by layer and really get into, the truth of our being. We are creatures, created creatures, and we have infra hellish states of suffering within us, which our consciousness is trapped in. Yeah, a lot of spiritual traditions talk about the descent into hell. Okay, The Gnostics talk about klipoth. Klipoth means shell. It means empty shell. How many empty shells is your consciousness trapped in? How many hell realms is your consciousness trapped in? Jesus descended into hell prior to his resurrection. Okay? He went into the deepest, darkest aspects of his psyche to liberate the consciousness, to resurrect. Okay? We have to do the work. Otherwise, if we don't, our outer reality will merely be a manifesting representation and reflection of our inability to look at ourselves internally. Okay? So, shamanic healing, excuse me, frog in my throat, ribbit. Shamanic healing and other healing modalities can, I'm not saying it always does, because it depends on you. Yeah, it depends on how deep you're ready to surrender to yourself and ready to go and ready to look at yourself, can help you start to unpick where your consciousness is trapped in some of these, let's call them aspects of false light, aspects of your shadow that create suffering for you. Not many people out there really realise that they're suffering on a daily basis. You might get glimpses occasionally of deep, resonant feelings of peace and calm and beauty and connection with God, with spirit, whatever you like to call it. Your inner truth, yeah? Inner truth. But it's not very lasting. And then you kind of go back into hell, go back into that state of suffering where, rather than be honest about it and feel it and understand it and unpick it, understand where you're trapped, where you're jailed, right? We distract ourselves. So we'll go and do something. We'll go and eat some shit food, or we'll go and put the TV on and watch a film, or just fill our lives full of activity, which more often than not is pretty meaningless and just keeps us at the surface level of existence. It keeps us swimming around in the foam on top of the sea. Yeah? If you want to go a bit deeper, don't have to go all the way down, right? It's a long journey. But even if you want to go a bit deeper, sometimes it takes a little bit of facilitation to do that. Sometimes it can take someone who has gone into certain aspects of his or her own hell realms to help you extract yourself from yours, to give you that guidance on how to do it. So, if you got your brave face on today, you can PM me through my page, Be Shamanic. There's lots of great teachers out there. There's a lot of great healers out there, therapists, whatever. But I guess I'm saying this stuff today because I personally feel it's really important, looking at where we are heading as a humanity at the moment, to really step our work up a gear and manifest a new beginning, a new tide. Okay? It's okay to say we need change. We need things to change. We need to stop warring with each other. We need to stop dividing. We need to stop creating all this crazy suffering for ourselves. But no one seems to have the answer, right? No one seems to be organised enough to be able to do it. And the reason is you can't. You can't. You know, you might get a bunch of like-minded people together and start a community, but I bet you, I will guarantee, right, that once the honeymoon period is over, if none of those individuals have done their inner, deeper shadow work, that community will start to fragment. And there will be division, and there will be gossip, right? And there will be conflict. And there will be chaos and dissolution. So, it's not about setting up stuff out there that might temporarily make you feel a bit more comfortable in your own skin. It's about feeling uncomfortable in your skin and understanding, having that gnosis, that knowledge to understand that experience that you're having. And then make changes within yourself through work, through practice, to release and liberate that aspect of your trapped consciousness that is causing suffering. If you've been angry for a long time and you're not really sure why you're angry all the time, you're suffering. Yeah? You're burning up. That's why all these pictures of hell are shown as demons with pitchforks prodding you and flames and all kind of stuff, you know? Suffering is like fire, yeah? It burns you. Eventually you get purified through it, but you don't need to. You can initiate yourself out of your suffering through a more direct path of knowledge, a more direct path of self-understanding. Healing, energy work, soul work can really help with that.